Okay, we're good to go. Now, it is just me today, so if I miss anything in the chat, please just be patient with me, because it is just me. But I've done this on my own tons of times, so it should be good to go. But if I miss your questions, just be patient. I'll look and try to pay attention in the chat. But here's the slide deck one more again, just so you can just so you can follow along. So welcome to MathMazing, subtracting chaos and adding engagement. So strategies for structured, engaging, and co-created math classrooms, presented by me, Joy Blake. Who am I? Well, I'm a middle school math teacher at Poe Classical on the far south side. So I've been a teacher for over 15 years. I worked as a math curriculum designer. I worked as the manager of all the STEM and STEAM schools. So I know a lot about math, and I also was an instructional technology specialist. So I know a lot about math. I love math. I love tech. I love STEM. So I like to bring all those things together to share with other people. What I've discovered is the one area of STEM that always tends to be overlooked is the M. So let's start to improve that. So anyways, you can reach out. Here's my email and personal address. My dad does usually present with me. He will be with me. He's been tomorrow and the other days. He just didn't come today. But I am a Google certified trainer, an Apple teacher, a Gemini certified teacher, educator, a Pear Deck certified coach, a Screencastify coach, and I just became a Google certified innovator. I'm so proud of myself. Gosh, pat myself on the back. Would you believe there's only 3,307 Google innovators in the whole world, and I'm one of them. So I've been doing this I've been grinding for some time, and it's kind of coming to fruition. So I pray all glory to God on that. So this is me and my dad. We both were in the Hall of Fame for tennis. But I'll just say that, but usually he helps me with the chat. So let's get going. So in this presentation, whenever I do presentations, I always like to talk about what you're going to see, how you can use it, and why I know it works. So today you're going to see me doing a lot of demos, a lot of clicking out of the presentation. So if you're like, wait, where did she click? And then where does it go? Just always stay after the session to answer any questions of things people might miss. We're gonna be spending some time in Gemini today, learning how we can incorporate that as well into our math classrooms using gems, and using other features. And I might, if I have enough time, give you a sneak peek on something called Google Workflows, which hopefully will make your life 10 times easier. I'll try to see if I can work that in. So how you can use it, I give you tons of resources. Just make a copy of it and it's yours. The only thing you can't make a copy of is my slide deck. That's intellectual property. And why it works is everything I'm showing you, I have used either in my classroom when I was a curriculum designer. I love teaching math. I used to be an ELA teacher when I first started back in 2005. The math, I feel like God led me to math because I was teaching ELA. We was reading books, Sharon G. Flake and all that. I was like, oh, okay, I can do this. And then the teacher next to me got pregnant. Would you believe it? And she asked me to take over her math classroom for maternity leave. And ever since that, I was like, hold up, this is way better. This is for me. The doors have opened up. So I really do enjoy teaching math and math education. So anyways, let's get into our learner objectives. First objective, we're going to learn how to design structural math routines. You can tell I made this on Gemini. Is this long? Yes. But the main things you need to talk about, we're going to talk about routines and how to integrate ed tech and AI partnerships. So not only just ed tech and AI, but also partnerships in the community that are great for math integration in schools. So the first step, structural design versus discipline. This is a really big thing to me, for me, because I feel like a lot of times we focus so much on classroom management and someone can't manage their class and the kids are out of control and all this. But really, it's all about design. It's thinking about, instead of internalizing it with how you're managing the kids, Maybe it's just the design of your one classroom, how they enter, how they exit, where they get their binders and books from, where they sit down, how long are they doing this stuff. Just thinking more, instead of internalizing, think more about like, how can I change the structural design of my classroom? Maybe they do, as you know, students, you may not know this, but it has been proven that the number one place that students go to learn is no longer the classroom. It is YouTube. The number one place, if you ask a child, where do they go to learn? They will say YouTube. And so maybe it's the structure. Maybe you need more videos, more visuals, thinking about the students that we serve today. The other component, we serve students now that are generation beta and generation alpha. These are the two generations that are so different from me as a millennial. Yes, when I was a millennial, the internet came out and we had the floppy disks and all that. But these kids, generation beta, literally grew up with AI. Like they were born when AI came out. That's when they were born. That's generation beta. And so they're the first generation that really is seeing the world so different. Also, when you think about generation alpha, they weren't born into AI, but they were born with technology already there. The tablets, the apps, the smartphones, all of those things were born into them. So it's really more about like, how do we teach the students we serve today? What are the structural things we can put in place to help these students? Just think about their vocabulary alone. I can't even keep up with Skibbity and Riz and 6-7 and what is it, aura farming? My daughter teaches me a new, what did she say? Scuba. She's only 7 and she's teaching me the scuba dance. So I think I can do a lot more in my math class. So one of the first things I recommend to anybody, if you're thinking about structural design and just having a system in place, is Modern Classroom. I use Modern Classroom. I started last year. It changed my life. I would say I had pretty good classroom management, but once I got Modern Classroom, it was just the kids were asking me to do work. They were can we do Modern Classroom? Can we do this? So what the structure of it is blended instruction, self-paced learning, and mastery-based grading. Kids get immediate feedback on what they're working on. They're the ones driving their learning train. They're the ones driving their learning and who are accountable for their learning. And then the teacher is not just in the front leading the instruction the whole class period, almost like a sit and get type structure. It is not set up like that. You pretty much might teach a lesson for at most 10 to 20 minutes. After that, the kids are going through the lessons at their own pace. If you are using Eureka Math, Skyline, or Illustrative Math, Modern Classroom has already set up a hub for you. And that hub, here's the website, and that hub actually has all the videos made for you. It has all the worksheets made for you. It has all the exit slips made for you. And not just the exit slip, it has the first exit slip. Let's say they make a mistake, and then it has a second exit slip. So all you're really doing is just the hardest lift, in my opinion, is, and if you're interested, before I forget, just make sure that they have free courses in the virtual mentorship, which you get paid for as a CPS educator. You get paid to go through the mentorship. You get a coach. You also get a coach. You get paid to go to your coaching calls. And you get, if you do the summer, like I just did the summer workshop. I think Miss Townsend done it. Hey, Miss Townsend. Me and Miss Townsend went to the summer workshop. They paid us for that. And it actually really, really helps you. Oh, hi, Carmela's on here too. And the other component that I really want to bring to your attention that helps is just the setup. So that's where you're going to come in, because you really do have to keep up with like where the kids are, progress tracking, things of that nature. I have a question, Principal Hammond.
How do we access it? Is it we pay for it, the school pays for it, or you can't hear me?
Okay. I still can't hear you. Okay, I'll take questions at the end, and then or if you put it in the chat, I might be able to help you, but I couldn't hear you. But yeah, so it really, and it really is so very helpful. The only thing is that I teach 8th grade algebra. And since I teach 8th grade algebra, that one I use the Skyline component, but they haven't built out the Skyline modern classroom like resources. But even if you just start small with it, you'd be so surprised. So the one structural thing too is the classroom design. So my classroom isn't set up just like with the rows. It's primarily going to be set up a workstation, a station for them to do exit slips, a station for them to listen to the guided notes, do their guided notes and listen to the pre-made videos. So students kind of station for small groups. So it's more of a system where students are constantly moving through different stations as they learn. You might say, well, what about those kids that just like don't do it at all? Like there are progress trackers to keep the kids on track. And then we definitely still do the quiz by a certain date. I found that by doing this, it helped me keep a little bit more actually on track with my pacing guide. Did I finish everything? No, but I was a little rusty, but I feel like I'll get better with time. So I recommend looking at Modern Classroom as a model to start. It's a pedagogy, more of a pedagogy of like structure, not necessarily like curriculum. Also, let's get into the predictable routines. In my class, so this is where you're gonna get into notebook yellow. In my classroom, I use daily the same. If you come in my classroom at the same time, gotta get it is, yes, it is free. You just go to the website and sign up for the math mentorship. Back to it. So, anyways, in my classroom, I had the same routine. If you come in at the same time, different day of the week, I'll probably be doing the exact same thing. One, the kids come in, so we have binders. I found that it's better for kids to leave their binders and materials in my classroom. I tried it once. Once they mess up, I'm like, we're not doing this. They leave their binder in the room. They leave their book in the room. We have calculators in the room, but I try not to allow them to use calculators. I don't let them bring water bottles in the room. They have all this extra stuff. You know where that stuff's going? On a shelf to the side. So we can focus on the math. Inside of their binder, they have a do now section. They have a homework section. They have a data section. So in that data section, that's where they're keeping track of what objectives did they master. How did they do on the last iReady test? They also do test analysis. Whenever they take a quiz, that's in the data section. And then we have a resource section, which I really wish I would have remembered to share this. I'll try to remember in my follow-up email. But in that section, I have something called a learned helplessness document. Let's see if I can find it. And for the learned helplessness, this is basically, especially in math, we have to realize as a math teacher that we're dealing with students whose confidence has been shaken. And they have, there's a common thing, even for let's see, it might take me a while to find this document, so I might not be able to do this. Let's see if I have it. Oh, here we go. The learning phrases. What I've discovered is these are the phrases that you get a lot from students. I don't get it. I don't understand. And as their math teacher, we need to teach them how to actually communicate what they need. Maybe they're stuck on a step. Like for instance, instead of saying I need help, I don't know what the next step is. Because really math is like a sport. The more you practice, you're just gonna innately get better and better and better. Here, I'm just gonna see if I'll put it in the chat because I forgot to put this in the slide deck, but I know I was gonna talk about it. So let me see, I'll put the chat for you. Sure, no problem. Anyways, here you go. So keep that in mind. Teach them how to talk, teach them how to communicate, and teach them how to empower themselves because everybody gets stuck. And it's really important for them to understand it's okay to normalize mistakes. Error is a part of life. That's how we learn, especially in math. Math is the number one place where if you make a mistake, you literally can go back and be like, oh, I forgot to carry the one. And now I'm going to remember to do that. So it's really important for students to understand how to talk and when to talk and what to say. The other part is math. There's a thing called innumeracy. that in education we've kind of let slide, and that's probably why we're struggling with math scores right now. But it's if you think about it, if you go out to eat, think about you just went out to a restaurant. There's always, and it's a group of you. Usually there's at least one person in that group that's gonna be like, I'm not good at calculating the tip. I'm not good at math. Why don't you calculate the tip? You're good at math. Yeah, I still get that with my mom friends. I'm grown. So it's always somebody, oh, you the best one doing the tip. You do the math. But no one's gonna say to somebody, hey, here's the menu. Can you read this menu for me? Because for some reason we allow people, it's not a good thing to not know how to read. But it's okay to be like, I'm not that good at math. I'm bad at math. Math's wasn't my best subject. When really in actuality, we're using math all the time. You are good at math because you use it a lot. It's just you might not be good at advanced calculus or something. But I just think it's like the way we talk and the way we use language, and a lot of kids come to us with their confidence shaken. And that, to me, that's the first important redesign your classroom. If you're having issues, because the number one kids who act out, you'll find out like, oh, you don't know your times tables. Oh, you don't know, like it's like sometimes it's just that they don't know the math and they don't want to be embarrassed because they're still using their fingers. It's okay for kids to use their fingers. Do not shame kids for doing that. But that's just my opinion. Anyways, and one thing that I always start my classroom with, I'm on this slide. One thing that I always start my classroom with as well is an activity where it's like, it's a little gross and I probably should change it, but for some reason it's engaging. And I asked them, how many ways can you kill a roach? Okay, I know it's gross. Get the image out your head. But the point of that is you'd be shocked at how many millions and millions of strategies kids come up with to kill a roach. And how I tie that activity to math is this is the same with math. There are so many strategies to solve a math problem. There is one right answer, but there's not one right way to do it. And kids have to understand, have to feel accepted. However they feel is best to solve the problem, let them do it, especially if they got the right answer. The only thing you don't want to let them do is just use AI or just use a calculator or just use the internet without being able to explain the steps. Now I'm going to talk about AI a little bit. I feel it's okay to use AI in the classroom because it can serve as a tutor. And when I get into Gemini, I really want to show you the component where it does really work as a tutor to help students. You just need to teach them like what prompt should they use. Now, instead of asking, what's the answer to this? Maybe they should ask, hey, can you show me the steps to solve this? Then unaware of themselves, they're learning. So it's just really more about the prompting and how they're using the AI. So anyways, my daily routines, they come in, they do the do now, which is a fluency check. Next, we're doing the launch, 10 to 20 minutes at the most. After that, they're going, and if it's a Monday, we're doing the weekly forecast so that kids know what's coming up ahead of time. So many kids have test anxiety. If you got a quiz on Thursday, the pop quiz thing, I don't even know why it's unnecessary to do. that makes test anxiety. All you got to do, just on my weekly forecast, I tell them what we're learning about each day of the week. When is it a test? When are we starting a project? What things from the school what school events that might occur that might make you miss a day of work or might make you not have the same, because kids need help with executive functioning. So they need to know like, oh, Thursday is the open house. I might not have the same amount of time to do my homework as I would on a regular day. Just like anybody else, they want to know what's coming up so that they can plan accordingly. So we do that on Mondays. On Wednesdays, we do work Wednesday. I pass back progress reports consistently. So nobody's in the dark and can say they didn't know why they got the grade they got. Now, when I'm talking about my lessons, which I use Notebook LM and Gemini to help me with, I just want to keep, we're going to go into Gemini now. I just want you to keep in mind that when you're using Gemini for your lesson planning, there's so many things you can do to cut back on your time. The first thing is your prompt. You really want to make sure that your prompt says who you are, not just I am a teacher. No, you can say I am a middle school teacher that teaches 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And I need 3 different lessons for 3 different grade levels on these topics. I want it to be 2 pages long. I want it to, like, you want to make sure you're as specific as you possibly can when it comes to your prompt. The other thing that I recommend is when you're designing your lessons using AI, always click this plus sign. You're going to want to click the plus sign because that's where you can upload files. So maybe you want to upload the lesson plans you used last year. So you can upload the lesson plans you used last year and be like, I want it to be in this format, just like this. Or I want it, you can upload the pacing guide. Usually I upload the pacing guide, the topic overview, the CPS calendar, so that just because you go on Eureka Math and they say are going to get done in 15 days, you might not get done in 15 days because this, and this is on the calendar. So I always include the calendar or any, and you might want to do the CPS calendar, and my school has a separate calendar of events. Upload that when you're doing your units or lesson plans. Upload pictures. If it's a unit or lesson plan where you like the format, you can always add those pictures and add those things. And what's the coolest thing that I just learned is if you already have built a Gemini notebook, you can upload the notebook and then have it, like, maybe it's an older notebook that you're not using this year, but you want to use some of the resources that were in there. You can also upload that. So those are some of the things I just want to always keep in mind before you start. Like, make sure before you even type the prompt, think about, are there any resources or any materials that I could use that can help me? Also, remember that you can, so today, this is our presentation today. So here's the learning objectives. I have no shame to show you this. Create 2 learning objectives. Boom. That's what we just did. The next thing I'll take questions at the end just so that I can get through the content. And then the other thing, when you're using AI, make sure that you click the plus sign. And if you wanted to make a slide deck for you, then that's where you're going to click on Canvas. And that's how it can create a website. It can create an infographic. It can create the code that you can embed into a website you might already have, and it can create the slides for you. So if you see here, my original prompt that I put, so long up. So this is what I put. Thanks for the slide deck. I want you to add, it's so long, but it's deep. It's just like me getting a brain dump. That's what I like about AI. I don't have to worry about grammar, spelling. I can brain dump everything that I need, and it synthesizes it and kind of gives you what you want. It's at least like a starting point. Remember, it does hallucinate. Remember, you do have to proofread. But once I put it in Canvas, it's at least gave me a start of my slide deck. Okay, so that's something to think about. Did I use, and you might recognize some of these slides. I didn't use all of these, but some of them I did use. And that's where that export comes in. So you can export it to slides, a PDF, or a PowerPoint. The other thing that I like to share is that if you're within a new slide deck, so if I have slides that I knew, and the only reason I can't show you fully is because, like, my computer will kind of low-key freeze and it'll slow down the presentation. But afterwards, if it's not as many people in here, I can show you more in depth how to do things, but I can't literally model it fully here because it will, like, gray out my screen. But remember, you can make any new slide, any new Google product by just putting new in the URL at the top, this is called the Omnibox. So I'm just going to type in slides.new. And when I get a new slide deck, now you have Gemini, which is embedded into slides now, which it can help you make slides. The one thing that I actually discovered today, which I learned something new today. But if you have a presentation, so let's say, so before I keep going, if you have a presentation, let's see. So this is my This is my presentation from yesterday. I did a presentation about how to use Gemini to make math projects. Yes, I love Project Runway. But what you can do also, if you already have so there's two things you can do. You can make a slide deck from scratch using Gemini. It'll give you templates. You can import it. You can create images, etc. But if you already like, for instance, I like this template a lot. I got it from somewhere else. I can also, if I go to File and then I go to make a copy, I can click on Match Presentation Style. And when I click on that, it'll keep a lot of the elements that were in this, but give me a new deck from scratch that I can add in. So if I click Match Presentation, I'm not going to do it because it's going to make this freeze. But instead of just making an exact copy, Michael, I'm going to get to the math symbols today. What a good question. I'm going to talk about that today. Anyways, it can make an exact copy or it can match the presentation. And then you could put in the information that you might want or might want to use. So I always like to share that because some people are like, you might not, if you look at this presentation, it looks like AI made it. It's not colorful. It's just drab. You can always take a template that you really like and then transfer that into a slide deck for AI. So I just want to show you just with the slide deck outside of Note. Now I'm still going to Notebook LM. I didn't forget, but it's just, I just want people to understand how to do it outside of the Gemini app or Notebook LM. So if I go to my notebooks, I'm going to go to the waffle. And you can always, okay, here's my notebook. Just a side note, just some people don't know, this is a new update that literally just came out this summer, but they're changing the name of Notebook LM to Gemini Notebook. So if you're somebody that's like, what the heck, is Gemini Notebook something else? It's not Notebook LM. They changed the name to Gemini Notebook. They are the same thing. Because you can even tell if you look here, here's Gemini Notebook, but if you look in your waffle, it's still called Notebook LM. And that makes people get confused. It's above my pay grade to complain about that. So it's whatever. But if you look here, I made a good amount of Notebook LMs. I was using Maneuver in the Middle curriculum for my algebra class. I'm not paying for it anymore. So I'm in the process of downloading all the resources that were found within that into a Notebook LM. And what can happen is this left panel is where you're going to put all the resources. Okay. So here's all the resources that I put in. It'll summarize it for you. It will give you, it can make a podcast. So if you're driving home and you want to listen to what summarize all the sources I just put in, because I didn't go through every single source. I just uploaded them in, and you can upload, I think the total you can upload is like 50 sources. It's like 50 or 54 that you can upload to one notebook. So that's why when you saw my notebooks, you saw I had multiple notebooks, or you might not have noticed that, but if you see that's why I have multiple notebooks, because you can only upload so many resources. Maybe it's 100. I don't know, because I have 89 right here. I don't know. It is a limit. That's the point I'm trying to tell to you all. There is a limit. I just don't know what it is off the top of my head. But see, here's all the resources, the slide decks. But what I like is it has AI built into the notebook, but it only focuses on the sources that you put in. And that's how it builds it. So if I have this, I might say, what are the key standards in these two units? And I can ask that question, and then it's going to respond in that regard, because I have 2 units in here. The other component is over here. It can make a quiz for me. It can make a slide deck for me based off of the sources I have. It can make flashcards. It also, if you're using Modern Classroom, it can make a video, which might save you a lot of time in trying to record all these videos on each lesson for students to learn from. So Notebook LM is a really great place to start. I would highly recommend A source should be the CPS calendar. A source should be your school calendar. A source should be the network and district pacing guides. If your curriculum has a pacing guide, I would recommend to include that as a source because it saves you so much time. If there's a template that your school wants you to use for lesson plans, use that as a source as you're building things. So that's just you can do a whole session on Notebook LM. I'm just giving you a sneak peek. So I'm gonna come back. If you have questions, I'll definitely answer at the end and stay after the time. All right, so then the next component is you can empower your students with math talks. So I want to show you this image here. I created that using AI. If you're somebody who's like, man, my slide decks are so boring, I don't like it, you can either enhance your slide decks using AI right here. So see how you can enhance it, or you can click Ask Gemini. And this is all the work I did today. This might not even show it all. This is all, it might not show it because it's like too much for it to handle. But it will use AI to ask you like, how many slides do you want? What do you want? It will give you an outline, like before it generates the slides, it will give you an outline of the slides it's going to make. And then you're able to approve or deny those. So these are just little things. But if you want to generate an image, remember in Gemini, you can make with a new chat, the nano banana, which is what the generative AI image thing is called. They have it as an icon here, but also within the chat, you can just create image and then you can tell it which style you want, what you want it to do. And that's the same thing with a video. You can do the exact same thing with images. But since I'm here, I'm gonna just get into gems because we've covered a lot. We talked about Gemini Notebook, how to put in an image, how to use Gemini on your Google Slides, how to use Gemini Notebook for lessons. Just start basic, start small. It's okay. You don't have to try to do all this. Just try to do one thing. As soon as you get frustrated, if you get frustrated, the number one thing that I do, let me see if I can show you an example so you know I'm not making this up. The number one thing I do when I get frustrated with Gemini is I don't want to say I'll start going off on it, but I will tell it about itself. See right here, it said your original presentation is currently open on the right side, all your sides, blah, blah. I was like, it is not. You changed everything. The original was 13 slides. Like, it's not okay to be like, right here, if you look right here, I'm like, now, Gemini, I'm going to tell you right now, this is terrible. Like, if you don't like something, this is the time you are training the AI chatbot to give you exact what you actually want. It's okay to do that. It's okay to be like, hey, take this out, put this in. The one thing too about Canvas is sometimes I have not been able to use it, but sometimes you are actually able to like update words in real time. Sometimes it works, sometimes it can kind of get a little wonky. Just don't give up on it. Don't give up. You're gonna figure out what works for you. Just take it small. But let's get into those gems. So gems are here. You click on the gems, and for your math classroom, so as you can see, mine are math based. I use a gem for my monthly update to my parents. I don't want to have to keep writing the same thing every time. I just have a gem that is set up so that it knows it's the monthly update. It should be colorful. It should have emojis. It should be split up into headers. A gem is basically a prompt or a question that you ask AI repeatedly. Like if it's something you're constantly asking the AI to do over and over, you should just make a gem for that. And then what it keeps track of is all the times you've asked it and what is created based off of that particular gem. So I have that. I have Desmos because I was just learning. I'm just teaching algebra for the first time, and I needed help. I'm a middle school, so this is my entire gem. I'm a middle school math teacher, and I'm a teacher teaching 9th grade algebra. I'm really struggling because I've never taught it. See how I'm being transparent. I need you to explain, and this is how it's explaining to me step by step. Some of the problems I know how to do, some I don't, and I'm not afraid to just be like, hey, can you help me? And these are the same things you can model to your students. because it'll help them to use AI. You don't want your students to use AI as a crutch. AI should be a collaborator or a tool, not a crutch, because then they're really hindering themselves. But anyways, back to the gems. There are some pre-made gems which could potentially help you as you're going along, like a brainstorm and things like that. But primarily, I highly recommend, and people do share gems. There's a lot of websites. If you ever heard of Eric Curtis, his website, I think it's called like Control Alt Learn or something like that. I love his website, his newsletter, but I can't think of it. But he has a whole website. I'll put his name in the chat though, so you could like look it up. But he has a whole website with just pre-made gems that you can, because you can share gems with each other. And this is an example of one that I was like, I'm going to use this Exaslip, and basically it's an Exaslip generator. It's pre-made for you. You can just use it. So those are some examples. I would highly recommend to use your gems as well if you have prompts that you repeat regularly within AI. So let's get back to it, because I'm at 9:37. I got 20 minutes. All right. So one thing that I use is Math Play in my classroom. I learned this from the Exigent Summer Camp. That was sponsored through Math Circles. And I saw a complete difference in my students when they were able to come in, just relax. Like maybe you have a morning meeting or you have breakfast. Maybe instead of them just get on their laptops, they can play different math games or use logic puzzles or things like that. I'm going to use that this year. I highly would recommend to empower your students by giving them grade reflections. I gave you 2 examples because kids, they flourish when they just have information. A lot of times they randomly think that they have an A just because A does not stand for attendance. Just because you come to school every day don't mean you're going to have an A. You actually got to do the work. And a lot of kids, they don't grasp it. So we do a lot of grade reflections. So you can take these. Here's one. Here's my second one. This is about, this is where I have them color code their progress report. So they'll color code their progress report by the grades. I also typically have them, I always give them progress reports from Aspen regularly. And that's where I'll have them circle what's missing. Don't try to act like you don't know what's missing. What's missing? Where underlying things where you got less than 70%. And it helps them to keep track of their grades. Encourage academic vocabulary. I included for it. And I mean, really using a word instead of saying 4 times 5, 4 multiplied by 5. Instead of saying 0.5, I force my students to say 5/10. Just a little ways or 0.56, that's 5600ths. Just from doing that, there's so much math that they're learning from academic vocabulary. I included a sample vocab notebook. It's digital if you want to use it. I'm probably going to maybe use it. And don't forget, teach like a champion. I always use right is right, no matter what. If it's right is right, 100, especially in math. Math is black and white. There's no room for error. So it's really important to just really use like right is right. Don't have gray area. Make your curriculum MathMazing. So I use Eureka Math. So I use the fluencies as I make them into packets. And I found that kids, at least middle school, they do pretty good with packets. Like at the beginning of the month, I just literally make a packet of all their do nows. I'm done. It's one they don't. I thought they would randomly work ahead. They really didn't, because I don't give them that much time. And then if a kid is absent, they know what their missing work is. And if they choose not to do it, that's on them. Because I have kids who are right on it absent. I'm like, I don't care. You should do it. So I recommend using packets. Also, there is a resource called Core Bytes, which I thought I'd link, but I'll link it here for you later. That's a great little mini do now, and it spirals information. Also, I recommend use your curriculum and find areas where you can find pre-made sub work. The do nows, I get them. I can show you afterwards within Eureka, but they have each lesson has a fluency, And the way that they want you to do it is you do it at the beginning of the class, of the lesson. Instead, I just make a copy of all of them and put them into one packet. And that's what the students do for their do nows. For math talks, those are great projects. I highly recommend, even though you might be like, Joy, I know I don't have enough time. I'm burnt out. I don't know when I'm going to be able to get through all this curriculum. But if you have just a little bit of time to click around in your curriculum, there might be a lot of like really cool hidden resources that are already made that you don't have to reinvent the wheel for. So for instance, in Eureka, I discovered that, okay, I agree. I discovered additional resources. That's where they had like data talks, which are performance assessments. You can use that stuff for the sub, for projects. So just make sure if you have the time, try to click around in there and see, is there anything that you can repurpose that you're not quite getting to in your classroom. And don't forget, every school has some type of math platform that they're, I don't want to say forcing teachers to use, but highly encouraging teachers to use and will be used for data. At my school, it's iExcel. iExcel has tons of, you can make quizzes on there. They have the things you can assign to the students. You can print those quizzes off. So anything that your school's already given you, I highly recommend. And if you're burnt out, you have Jim use AI and ask, hey, are there any resources that are on iExcel that I could potentially use to give as a sub, or that I can use for a packet for my students? Sometimes you can use AI to do some of the lifting for you, not all of it. Again, it can't be a crutch. But to me, the math platforms are great for homework. If your school is already checking it, just use it and assign it as homework. 9 times out of 10, most of the students are already used to it, because if they've been at the same school since kindergarten, hopefully they've been using iExcel since kindergarten. The main thing is make sure you have criteria. They got, in my class, they got to at least get a 90% on it in order for me to count it, even though the threshold is 80%. So just think about that. Also, every day when kids walk in my class, after we do the do now, we always do a challenge question. The challenge question is a multiple choice question, and each corner of my room is a letter for, like one corner is A, one's B, one's C, one's D. And we do a challenge question. It's either going to be tied to IAR or test prep. It's going to be mental math, or it's going to be tied to a quiz. It might be a question off their quiz that they haven't quite gotten to yet. But it's usually something that I know it can't be like super easy. It has to be something that garners discussion. And so when we do the challenge question, we read it. We do the 3 read strategy. We also do the cube strategy. If you never heard of the cube strategy, it's the C stands for circle keywords. The U stands for, the C stands for circle numbers. The U stands for underline keywords. The B stands for box the question. And the E stands for eliminate unnecessary information. Doing this strategy to me every day has helped me a lot, because it helps my students learn how to decode test questions, and it helps them to understand, just like not get so overwhelmed by a challenging question or a word problem, because if they move to the right letter, sometimes they're like, well, I just guessed, but I thought it was this, because they're using their own like rational thought to figure it out without a calculator, without sometimes prior knowledge, and it boosts their confidence when they get it wrong. What I discovered, you will have some kids that'll just sit it out because they don't want to be the one kid that's in D and that's like super wrong. So I usually give them like 3 passes. Like you have 3 sit outs. Other than that, you have to participate, because in math, it's okay to make mistakes. That's how we learn. And I always tell them, like, you have not learned this before, so the odds of you making a mistake are even higher. And the one thing outside of the 3 read strategy, always remember, every human needs at least 3 exposures to something before they actually understand and digest. It's the same with kids. So If you're like, Joy, I can't even keep up what you're talking about right now, you really shouldn't. It's your first exposure. It takes about 3 times for somebody to be exposed before they truly get it. So just keep that in mind. I kind of talked about designing with Gemini. The only thing I didn't talk about was vibe coding and the symbols. Okay, so that's where I'm going to go to right now. If you make, let me see. If you make a math, this is very common, but let's say, so this summer I had to make a pre-algebra boot. I did a pre-algebra boot camp, and I used Gemini to help me with it, to break it up into topics, to come up with the work that the students are doing. And as you can see, it built all this, and wow, doesn't it look great? I can't wait to use this. But guess what happens, guys? When you copy any form of math into, and you make it into a Google Doc, which is really the only way you can print it. If you make it into a Google Doc, what happens is that it has all the, let's see if I can actually, I'm not going to be able to show you off this. But when, I'm not going to get into it for the sake of time, but when you copy it, whenever it's a math problem, it's going to have a $sign in front and behind. So anything you create that you convert to a Google Doc using Gemini, it always has like a $sign before it and after it. And that's Gemini's way of letting you know it's a math problem or it's a number. But guess what? You're going to have to go through and delete all those $signs because it will look pretty wonky. I'm trying to think if I can find an example. I think I actually deleted all of them already, but let me see. Week 1. Let's see. I think I didn't delete it off of week 1. But to show you an example, let's see. Oh, I think I did. But like, for instance, yeah, I took the time. Like, for instance, in front of this problem, it would have like a $sign like that. That's like how Gemini, like, it'll be like that. And you might be like, well, this isn't money. Why is there a $sign? But that's how it just, I don't know. But that's just how it does with numbers. That's what I've noticed. And so that can be really irritating and random, but that's just one that helps you to proofread, in my opinion. So just look out for that. And or just train your students like, okay, guys, yes, there's a $sign in front of this. You will be fine. You can. And yeah, of course, you could just snip it from the Gemini, what it gave back to as well. That's an easy workaround. But I just want to share that with people so they don't get frustrated. Also, it doesn't always, like, for instance, it won't create fractions for you in Google Docs. So remember, you have to go to Insert, and you're going to go to Symbols here, Insert Symbols, and that's where you can find all the different types of equations. So it might not generate it, like it'll say like A/B frac, which means it was A over B fraction. And you'll have to just click on this and actually put the fraction in. So there's some editing you'll have to do. The other thing, which I discovered was frustrating, if you have an angle, let's say you're trying to do angles or degrees or squared or the pi symbol with math in a Google Doc, if you transferred it from Gemini, you don't necessarily see it in this equation option. So the next step you have to do is go to Insert, you're going to go to Symbols, and then you're going to go to Special Characters. When you go to Special Characters, you can see, I can type, you can type in this keyword what you're looking for, and that's where you'll find like the pi symbol. Or you can type in like angle, and that's where you'll find like the angle symbol. Or like if you need degree, that's where you can find like the degree symbol. And all those like advanced symbols, they are in Google Docs, and Gemini will not transfer it over for you. They're under symbols. So just keep playing around with it. And if you remember, if you get stuck, ask Gemini, like, Gemini, why didn't you copy over the angle symbol in my Google Doc? Like, those are the questions I have. And it'll explain it to you. So remember, problem solving and projects is vital. I had a presentation about this yesterday, and it has been proven that if students are interested in something, they will persevere. The level of grit that they have is higher. when they're interested in what they're learning about, or they find it relevant or culturally responsive to themselves. So I can't get into this too much, but if you want to learn more about it, you can click here. And that's my presentation. You can learn more about it. But I use, whenever I make projects and do project-based learning, I 100% use Gemini because it can make the project overview for you. It can make timelines for you. It can make the rubric for you. And it can make the resources that you want your students to do. So if I had the Gemini now, I'd just show you what I did. And you can also just, I guess, watch the recording of this presentation. I did it yesterday. But let's see, where is it? Where at? Let's see. So I have a mystery. I have a mystery math cereal box. And as you can see, you can search for your prompts. The one thing I always recommend, even though I didn't say this, but I'm going to say this to you. If you have a new chat, just remember that when you have a new chat, no problem, make sure you keep everything in the same chat if it's dealing with a topic, because it'll continue. You don't have to make a new chat over and over, especially if it's the same topic. It just will be like super long, and that's okay. And if you randomly can't find something, Gemini does start to hide previous chats, but you can always just ask it, hey, where is this at? And then it'll bring it back up for you. But this is the mystery math cereal project I did. I just want to go to the top. I made an image for the presentation, for the project. But the main thing too is when I very first started, I put in a picture of what I want. And it wasn't even about this, but I had this idea. And I'm like, okay, let me find a picture of what I'm thinking of on the internet. It's not directly aligned, but it's helpful enough, or the course guide, and then you start building. And all these pieces it made. But just to help you out, I included, so remember, you can add in pictures, examples, and have a very specific prompt. Use AI to make the images like if you don't have an exemplar for a math project, just ask AI to make the picture or make an exemplar based off of the rubric, and that might help, because sometimes it's your very first time doing it. Also remember, you can make a rubric and then take that rubric and put it right in your Google Classroom. When you make a new assignment, there's an option for rubrics. You can import the rubric and have it already in your Google Classroom. So just to help you out, if you want to use any of these math projects that I did last year, feel free, make a copy, take them and use them. I'm not going to get into them all, but I also included like how I prompted just to help you out. And remember, math circles, they do a free math festival every year, especially if you host an after-school math circle program. And I had my 8th graders lead the whole festival, and I included a rubric for you. This is basically like if you, okay, I'm gonna keep going. If you want to stay, just stay. You're welcome. For those that have to dip off, I'm almost done, but I'm probably, but anyways, if you want to do a math festival, it's like a carnival. It's a carnival of math games, and you can do it from kindergarten all the way up to 12. I don't know if it goes to 12th grade, but I know they had games from kindergarten to 8th, and everybody was playing them. The adults was playing it. I didn't expect it to be as good as it was, and I was so proud of the 8th graders. They led the games. It was like a great end of the year activity for them. So I have a couple real world connections. These are things that I did in my classroom this past year. The Capitol Hill Challenge, that was a really good one. They have a stock game that you can play. And then in April, they have financial literacy bingo, which the kids didn't want to stop playing the bingo card. And and a side note as teachers, if you participate in the financial literacy bingo, they give you are in a raffle for $100 Donors Choose gift card, which I want. And I would just recommend to do it. Also, CBO, which is literally on the stock exchange, they have a whole curriculum, and it's a great field trip. I took my 7th graders there. They played all these like math and like stock exchange games. They got to be by the bell. They didn't get to ring it, because to ring the bell is at 3:15. So just so you know, but they offered that. Pilot Light has recipes. 10-story learning is project-based learning. It is not free. But I found that it was so engaging. And actually, if you go to Algebra Studio, the kids that you see on there, those are my students. We're on the, like, this is Justin. These are my students. And we did this last year. It was a great way to like get them excited, like about algebra and to test out the game. It went like their math knowledge went up so much higher. So project-based learning, it truly does work. NBA Math Hoops, a lot of people don't know about it, but it's a free game. They'll send you the game to you. They'll train you. And they have real NBA. You play like math. You learn about math, sports statistics through it. And they have an end of the year global championship where they'll fly the teacher, the student, their parent to New York City to compete for free. So they have a mobile app. The kids loved it. It was fun. And if you don't want to do it in your classroom, you could also do it as an after school program. And then I have my own app. Look, EverFi has a lot of lessons too. And I have my own app, and it is based on the Generation Beta and Generation Alpha information I was saying, where it revamps boring word problems that we see all the time. Like I still see word problems about cutting yarn and fabric and doing a garden, which no Generation Alpha kid is that into gardening. If you're trying to revamp the word problems that you have, just check out my app. You can go onto the app. You can either put the topic that the kid is interested. It's also tied to the city they live in. You can either put the word problem in and it'll revamp it, or it'll come up with word problems from scratch for you based off of the topic. I think I'm almost done. What's my time? Got 2 minutes. Yeah, I'm almost done. I gave you these resources. I ran a math bee before, and kids were so into it, and their parents too. Instead of a spelling bee, it was a math bee. Maybe you could revamp it into a math bowl. But for your sake, it was based off of the 100 things a mathematician should know. So it was 100 like key things every math student should just know. Like a math student should know 1/4 is the same as 25%, like things like that. And then we also tested the students, and the ones that got 100%, I believe, on the 100 things they should know, they advanced to the math bee. And then if you click on this one that says math bee questions, it's kind of like a template for the questions we asked them at the math bee. So it was like a committee, and we all came up with our own questions. And the kids, it was a really big thing. And the irony is, when I did this math bee back in 2012, I haven't been able to do it again. That was the same day my husband proposed to me. So that must mean I have a connection to math, because that's the same day. I put a link in for the math festival as well if you're trying to do that. I also included homework for you. I have a whole folder of spiral homework that I give out at the beginning of the year. You can do it during testing, but it's at the very beginning of the year. It's 9 weeks, so it's exactly tied to the first quarter. And they have something to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and I don't think Friday is included. And then I collect it every Friday. So if you're trying to get some homework inspiration, just click on one, make a copy. The problems are already in there. The only thing that's not in there are the answer keys, but just put it in Gemini. Just literally take a link of it, put it in Gemini, and be like, make an answer key based off this. Like, I don't know. Also, it's taking too long to open up, but hopefully you can get an idea of what it is. And then also we do homework boards. This has worked really, really well for 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. It helped me every day. They keep track of their own learning. I'm corny, and I do tie it to holidays and seasons. I can't stop myself from doing it. But it is like a page out of their iExcel workbook. It's an iExcel that they need to do online. So it's 11 worksheets. They have to do 8 iExcels, 1 Desmos, and then they have an extra credit opportunity. So we do this. They get it at the beginning of the month. It's due at the end of the month. And that's it. And I do put it in the grade book, and I do keep track. I'm not going to read through all this, but if you would like to, you can also keep in mind that I do extra credit. So if you need inspiration about that, I have an example of my extra credit in here. And I give extra credit. Hey, you bring in some tissues, we're running short. it's spring, all our tissues are gone, I give you 5 points. It doesn't take as long as it might seem. And then also, I only put in 2 grades, and that's all you should be putting in, 2 grades a week. So the screen column is when progress reports come out, but I explained to them, these are the 2 grades I'm putting in because they don't know. And they'll randomly turn in something that's unfortunately but true is worth nothing in the scheme. Like, you're not going to grade it. So you want them to know, like, which things are you going to grade, which things are you not going to grade. Not going to grade. All right, I'm a little bit over, my bad. I gave you some strategic test prep things that you can take, some practice tests for IAR. I use the Dieter strategy for test prep. And I have a slide deck here that helps them understand like the makeup of a multiple choice. A lot of people, I used to be a curriculum designer. 50% of math multiple choice, the answer is C. So even that's why I say ICC. Like, if you're not certain, just pick C. And also we do iReady reflections throughout the year, beginning of the year, middle of the year, and end of the year, so that they understand the test. A lot of times they don't understand the test that they're doing. And we need to keep in mind, kids do have test anxiety. So there are some components here you can use that I do in my math class. I don't think we're using iReady anymore, but if you are, I really like this tracker because they can see their score gradually going up and as they graphed it, and that made a difference. I love Ziploc bags for grading. Put everything in Ziploc bags. It's easier. I recognize achievement for tests as well. So, and if you're like, well, a kid doesn't want to be embarrassed, I have them make an ID card that is just their ID number. It does not have their name on it. If they choose to put their name, that's on them. But it is anonymous. And if some random kid got to look up your ID, they kind of a stalker in the first place. That's a little weird, but I do really highly recognize achievement. Like, so these little banners I got from Creative Exchange, and each time if they grow, they get a banner. If they grow 10 points, they get a different ribbon. If they grow 15, they get a ribbon. If they meet their goal, they get a ribbon. And if they meet their stretch goal, they get another ribbon, because then it's not just a test. You're actually working towards something to make yourself better. Here's some of the daily engagement things I do just to keep it fun. The mystery number, they really got into it. Each day they release a video that helps you eventually use all the numbers to find the mystery number. So these are some of those. For the sake of time, I'm going to keep going. Don't forget your parents. Remember, use that gem to make your weekly update. And don't be afraid to tell parents, hey, your child is 2 grade levels behind. We're going to need you, if you want them to keep pace, we're going to need you to do this extra work at home, because that's not all on you as a teacher. And remember, if your Skyline, they have a parent letter you can send home. And I think most curriculum have that. So I would send it home, and I definitely send home the guide for the year and the topics that we're covering from the year from my curriculum. I love the Knicks. This is my closing slide. I know for y'all that hung on, I appreciate it. I appreciate you. But remember, just start small. Jalen Brunson, the smallest guard in the league, and now a champion. Start small. Take bite-sized pieces. Nobody eats a whole plate of food in one bite. They eat it bite by bite. The next thing, put the team first. If you have a math team to work with, talk to your admin. Make sure they're on pace, and put the students first. They have a lot of great ideas. Let them do a student voice survey. You'd be surprised what they come up with. Plan it out. Take time to plan. Sometimes planning is more important than grading. If you got to get the plan together first, the grading will become so much easier. Be your own hype man. Josh Hart. Hart got Hart. Cheer for yourself. Believe in yourself. That's all you got is you. And don't give up. Remember, the Knicks was down 29 points. It came back. Look. I love the Knicks. Anyways, sorry, I'm getting out of hand. But yeah, don't give up. Don't give up. And then, of course, we got Mitchell Robinson here. He left the Knicks, unfortunately, his loss. But when he was on the Knicks, he was really bad at free throws. 34% free throw percentage. And instead of focusing, he knew he was going to miss the free throws, and they knew they were going to foul him. But you know what? He focuses on defense, rebounding, and blocks, what he's good at. So bring out your inner champion when it comes to your math classroom. These are my sessions. Fortunately, my session today at 2 p.m. is canceled. My daughter has a dance showcase, family first. But everything else is on here. If you want to come to other ones, don't forget to get your ISB credit. It should be popping up now because the session is over. And please join my mailing list. I'm going to start a Google Educator group. I was asked by Google to do that, so I guess I'm going to do it. It's a Google Educator group for CPS. Just click the link, or click the link for any of them. But if you want to be a part of that, make sure to click that link, and then you'll get more resources. I have some AI activities for you and the info deck. That's it. I'm done. 10:07. Okay, this is my first time. I'll tighten up, I promise. I appreciate you all. I hope you have a great school year. Are there any questions? I will stay on.
I sent you
answer any questions you may have. Principal Hammond, do you have a question?
I sent you a G chat. It can wait until after everybody's done. If we can jump on after everyone's done.
Hammond, maybe I need to turn up my volume. Hold up. I got you. I can hear you.
Okay. I just want to jump on real quick once you're done.
Can you say that one more time?
I sent you a G chat.
Oh, okay. Do you want me to read it now, or do you want me to?
After we're finished. After
okay.
we're done.
Yeah, I'm done. So I can look at it now.
Okay.
Hey, Joy, what were the sections of your notebook again?
For the, hi, Ms. Smith. Was it for the Gemini notebook?
No, you mentioned you were talking about you have a data section.
That's that was for my binder. Yeah, I have a do now section where they put their do now packet. I have a homework section where they put their homework board. And then I have a data section for like any test revisions, test and analytics, like how I showed you that data chat, like they would put that in there, like progress monitoring. I put that in the data section. And then I have a resources section, which is like where the learned helplessness phrases are and stuff like that.
Yeah, I did we do STAR. So I have a STAR diagnostic that I print out with their BOY, MOY that they have to fill out. So that would work.
Oh yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, I forced them to do that. Even if you lose a day of instruction, I feel like it's worth it in the end.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Okay, Principal Hammond.
Appreciate you.
Oh, no problem. Appreciate you. I have a question. Okay, I'll join you. Okay, I'll join you in the meet after this. Okay, any other questions? And then, any other questions? All right, I'm going to stop the recording.
Hey, Joe.